Hello and welcome back to OWTV. My name is Shoddyflow, and today I'm joined by former Nightmare standout and current Team Liquid Flex DPS player, Zeruhh. Thank you so much for joining us. This of course isn't our first time talking, as I had the pleasure of covering your story earlier this year over at OWCS Productions, and obviously quite a bit has changed since then. So I'm wondering, first of all, how are you doing? But also, how has this entire year been for you so far?
I'm doing good, and I'd say this entire year, I guess competing wise, has been going pretty good. Kind of ups and downs, a bit rocky at times, but overall, I think it's been a decently successful year for my standards. Making 2 out of 3 lands so far. Hopefully, going for the third one is definitely I'm super fortunate to have been able to do that so far.
For sure, yeah. So jumping into last week, you had your match against Team Z, and there's not a huge amount to talk about, really. Was there anything in particular that you took from this series, or perhaps any players that you were impressed by from Team Z?
When it comes to Team Z, I'd say their greatest strength is probably their if the meta actually leaned into more Genji Tracer, I'd say their DPS line is definitely something to highlight. Also want to highlight Astronex because he's a good friend of mine. He works really hard, so definitely want to highlight his work ethic.
For sure, yeah. We ended up seeing a lot more Kiriko Lucio from you guys this week, whereas a lot of other teams globally are still favoring Wuyang in a lot of different scenarios. Specifically zooming into Lucio, have you or the team had a bit of a perception shift when it comes to his strength in the current meta, or does it come down to the details such as map and bans?
I think after the most recent patch, and honestly even before the patch, Lucio was pretty strong, but now I think he's even more strong than he was before the patch. I think definitely he's very viable in a lot of situations, probably most. But if you're a Wuyang team, you want to make Wuyang work, having specific maps and the ban system really helps Wuyang teams. So Wuyang is also in a pretty decent spot as well, I think. I think it comes down to mostly preference.
Gotcha. So your next game is a pretty important one, as you'll be facing off against one of the other North American powerhouses in Geekay Esports. Power-wise, how do you feel your team compares to Geekay in this moment and meta?
I think due to the meta, it's been shifting pretty constantly. I'd say both GK and us are on a pretty level playing field, and we're both kind of trying to figure out more of our style. I think GK has their style down pretty much, and we've been working really hard, so we're probably around the same level. I think it'll be a really close match, and I hope it's an enjoyable match for the viewers to watch.
For sure, yeah, I'm sure it will be. Geekay sort of have a reputation for running a lot of unique compositions featuring Lifeweaver, Wuyang, and Lucio, making them seem like a pretty tricky team to prepare for. Do you feel like you have them pretty downloaded and know what to expect going into this match, or is there still some degree of uncertainty?
I think versus GK, there will always be a decent degree of uncertainty. I feel like every meta, they're pretty good at finding niche comps to make work. Since I was on their team in stage 1, every other team was running Maga comps, but we actually played the Hazard, and that was kind of our own unique style. We made the Hazard work. We would play Sigma at some points, Ram a lot of Ram, while other teams were playing Maga. So I kind of cannot I can kind of understand how they're thinking every meta, because I know they like to find their niche, a niche style, and a style unique to them every meta.
For sure, yeah. They are one of the teams running Wuyang and Lucio as their backline, as compared to the Kiriko Lucio and or the Kiriko Wuyang we've seen from most other teams. How effective do you think the Lu Yang backline is when being used against those more common backline styles?
I don't think it should be as effective as GK make it. I think I'd really want to highlight Ultraviolet. I think he's probably definitely the strongest one of the strongest wings in the world. So I think it's due to their backline super strong ability, UV on the Wuyang and Admiral on Lucio, that they're able to make that comp work more than it should, in my opinion.
Gotcha. So you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but for anyone who's just catching up on their lore, Geekay, of course, used to be the Nightmare Squad only months ago, and Zeruh was a main staple of that roster before Stage 2. So, of course, Zeruh, you are extremely familiar with the players on Geekay, perhaps bar your quote-unquote replacement in WMIMON. So as someone with immense insight into the inner workings of that core, what do you think is going to be the main key to beating them?
The main key to beating them, I'd say it's just playing our style better than they can play their style, I guess. I mean, I feel like both teams like have a pretty good idea of what each other's going to play. So it really comes down to just refining our strategies and refining our individual play as well as our team play, just to get to a higher level than what they can perform at. I really think it also comes down to who shows up on match day.
For sure. So perhaps one of the biggest new adjustments to the life of Zeruh is the Team Liquid house. So how has your experience been since moving in with the team?
I'm actually not living at the Team Liquid house. I was going to move in after Knife left, because then there's an open room. But my grandparents are here visiting from Ecuador, so I'm kind of here to, spend time with them.
Gotcha. Do you have plans to move in with the team in the future?
It is like an possible opportunity that I would explore, but with the lease ending soon, it might be a little bit difficult to move in.
Okay, I got you. So I'll have to adjust this question a little bit, though. The next question was going to be, who on Team Liquid do you find the easiest to live with? And on the flip side, who's the worst? But I guess we can change that to who on Team Liquid is the easiest to work with, and who might be the most difficult or the biggest troublemaker?
For the easiest to work with, I'd probably go with Vega. I feel like Vega is really receptive to constructive criticism. I think he's also like really good at staying more like composed. So yeah, I'd say Vega's really easy to work with. He's always giving his opinion. He's always taking other people's opinion, and then we can find a conclusion together. And then I'm sorry, what was the second half of that question?
Who's that guy on the team? Who's like the troublemaker or the funny guy? Who makes VOD reviews a little bit more difficult than they need to be? If anyone, it could be no one.
I don't know. We're all pretty. Probably in Kisor's eyes, we're all a bunch of troublemakers, to be honest. Yeah. we might be the youngest team in the world, so I'd probably say just like maybe me and Infected. We're both a little bit of troublemakers.
Gotcha. So I was going to say it's probably safe to assume that, like many players, a good chunk of your career has taken place directly from your bedroom, but it seems that is still a bit of the case. So how much do you think, maybe you can talk with or maybe you have talked with your teammates already, who are new to the team house environment, like maybe Vega. Have you taken any notice to anything that they've said about the shift from going to your bedroom to a team house? Has there been any kind of shift in their experience?
I know like most of them, they like last year had apartments in Toronto, so it was more kind of secluded, but now they're kind of forced to like after scrims, at the dinner table, you got to talk to everyone, not just your roommate. So I guess there's more like just more face-to-face interactions. I think, I mean, it's definitely Infected. It's first time like living like with teammates or like really close to teammates. So I'd say for him, it's just, from what I can tell, he's kind of built more of like a bond with his teammates,
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that living together has sort of a buff when it comes to the team's improvement and in-game performance?
Yeah, I definitely think living together like is super important for like improving team performance, and just overall like being close with your teammates is important. It's important to have a good relationship with your team. like even when I was on Nightmare and we didn't have a team house, me and UV, we were at Winthrop, always seeing each other. And then all the ISU guys, Admiral, Kuffa, Lethal, they're all at ISU, like constantly together. So I think that's really important to have, like, to be able to see your teammates and like build like a stronger relationship with them.
Yeah, for sure. So for a lot of this year, Team Liquid maybe hasn't gotten the results you likely would have hoped for, but with this stage, it seems like things are finally starting to turn in your favor a bit more. Is there any merit to that feeling? Like, does it feel like this stage is any different for you?
For me, I go into every stage knowing it's like, I don't know. For me, every stage feels like it's the hardest stage of the year. Like stage 1, trying to qualify for China, there's only 2 spots. So I'm like, it's like down to the wire. The top 4 super competitive. Stage 2 again, like even just trying to qualify for EWC. Any team can miss it. SSG, they missed it. Super competitive, and it really feels the same for this stage. Super competitive, but first stage I won it. Second stage went to map 7, was a map away from winning it again on a different team. And this stage, I'm feeling confident with Liquid. We've been working super hard, and I know that Liquid got third first stage, second stage. We really do want to win. I know everyone like wants to win super badly.
For sure. Yeah. Of course, with such a strong team, you guys must have big ambitions. And you yourself are a player who's knocked on the door of Korea and waltzed right in with your upset of Crazy Raccoon earlier this year at Champions Clash. So with that kind of firsthand experience and a meta that seems to suit your team, how confident are you that Team Liquid will be able to achieve those ambitions, whether it's winning the stage, winning the season, or something entirely different?
I'm always focused on taking it step by step, but going down the line, I really do want to win this stage and give Liquid their first NA title. That would be super important for me, and I really do want to win that. And then going on to the international Stockholm, of course, my highest placing was top 3 in Champions Clash, and I feel like since the beginning of me competing internationally, my results have always gone up, except for this most recent EWC. So I'm hoping to kind of bounce back and play super high in Stockholm if we make it, of course. But yeah.
For sure, yeah. And I'm sure it goes without saying that Geekay is probably fired up at the prospect of playing against you specifically. So going into that match later this week, do you have a message for your old teammates turned rivals?
I mean, I don't know. Every time we scrim them, it's always a lot of typing in the match chat. At the end of the day, those are players that I spent a lot of time with and achieved like things I'm super proud of with them. But of course, we might have to kick their ass, hopefully. So I guess just may the best team win, and I hope they have as much fun as I'll probably have.
Hell yeah. Well, finally, before we wrap up, you have gained quite a fan base this year, whether it's as the savior of NA, Zeruhh Ronaldo, or even as Team Liquid's poached prize. So do you have any messages or shout outs to the fans, family, friends, staff, and anyone else who's jumped on the ZR7 hype train this year?
I guess to everyone who's supported me, it really does mean a lot. It's been a very difficult year, not just during competing, but outside of it too. And I think I'm very fortunate to be here representing Team Liquid and to have such a supportive fan base. It really does mean the world to me. And of course, I'm going to make sure to work hard and give results that you guys can be proud of. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, that is going to wrap up our interview. Zeruhh, thank you so much for joining me. It is always a pleasure to talk to you, and good luck for the rest of your stage and season.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Well, make sure you follow Zeruhh and Team Liquid on social media to continue following their journey through OWCS 2025. And make sure you subscribe here on the OWCS YouTube channel to fill your feed with wonderful Overwatch esports coverage from an amazingly passionate team. Not only that, but remember that our website, owtv.gg, is a one-stop shop for everything OWCS, including fantasy, where if you've got the budget, you can sign Zeruhh and chase Unter up the leaderboard. That is going to do it, though. I've been Shoddy with OWTV, joined by Zeruhh of Team Liquid. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.